I read 83 books in 2024 and I thought it would be a really fun idea to tier list rank them because I've seen Sarah Caroli do this, and as we all know, she's the queen of booktube. So as you can see, I'm sat in bed, I'm quite comfy, quite cozy, and we're going to go through my 2024 yearly wrap up. Oh my goodness. So this year I have read 83 books, and that has totaled to 30,556 pages, which when you see those numerical values, I don't think I've read that much. And then I speak to my friends and they're like, oh, I've managed to read, hit my goal of 30 books. And I'm like, that's absolutely amazing. And then they're like, oh, how many did you read? And I'm like, oh, 83. And they're like, that's actually quite a lot. So 83 books. I do think I'm very blessed in the sense that I currently am on supply, which if you are a teacher, you will know supply work is so much easier. I just didn't realise. And so I'm on supply. My master's is only 2 nights a week. I'm living away from home, so all my friends are back here, so I don't really do much with my evenings and weekends, and therefore reading is like my one thing that I do. So yeah. And the shortest book I read was my dearest friend Lauren's poetry collection, and that was 91 pages and 5 stars. Absolutely 100%. I am very biased by this, and I do appear in the mentions at the front. So it's great. I love that book. It's absolutely wonderful. Please go and buy it. Please get it. And I will put it in the tier list as well. But 5 stars, incredible. If you enjoy poetry, go and get it. If you don't enjoy poetry, maybe don't go and get it, but actually the poems are great, so go and get it. And then the longest book that I read was 941 pages, and that was 2 More Days, which is the anthology that I actually finished in December. So if you want to see more in-depth thoughts, go and watch the December wrap up. And then my average book length was in 2024 was 368 pages, which I do think is around about right. I tend to read mainly romance books, which are around 360, 370 pages, so that's about right. And I've read a couple of longer books this year, but then I've also read a few smaller books, so I've kind of balanced it all out. And yeah, I definitely agree with that. Then the book that I've read that's the most shelved is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I mean, I feel like most people have read it by now because 6,324,045 people have shelved it. And then the least shelved is my dear friend's book, The Moon is a Lesbian, which only has 2 shelves. And then, so my average rating as well for 2024 was 3.7, which when seeing it like that, doesn't sound that high, and I definitely do think there are definitely some books this year that I should have DNF'd. However, I do really enjoy reading. I don't really like DNFing books, and I do really enjoy reading and continuing going. So I think 3.7 is not that bad, and there's definitely been quite a few 5 stars in there. So I'm going to get on my tier list. Like I said, Sarah Caroli very much inspired this, and so therefore the categories are from her video. Okay, so as you can see, I'm screen recording now, and then we will go through the books, and they're not in order because I did order them and then I refreshed the page and then they jumped out of order again and I couldn't be bothered to do it again. So as you can see, category number 1 is Inject Into My Veins. Love these books. These are the books that I want to live in, and just absolutely incredible. Then I've got Ate This Up, but not quite God tier. It was a really good book, maybe 5 stars, maybe 4 stars, and highly recommend is one of the books that I really enjoyed, but just not quite Inject Into the Veins level. Then we've got I'd Recommend But Haven't Thought Twice. There's some books that maybe when talking to other people I would recommend them, and if that's what they want, then I would say, oh, it's a really good book, but not necessarily a book that I would want to go back, reread and think about again. Then there's We Were Rooting For You, which is quite self-explanatory, books that I thought were going to be amazing and just let me down a little bit. Then we've got Do Not Remember Reading This, which definitely, so when I saw Sarah's video, and I'll link the video down below, and when I saw that I was like, surely not. And then I thought, no, there's definitely some books that I've read this year that I just don't remember. And then we've got Should Have DNF'd, and there are some of those as well. So let's start from the beginning. So Things We Hide From the Light I enjoyed this book. I haven't thought about it again, so I definitely put in I'd recommend but haven't thought twice. This is book number 2 in the Knock 'em Out series, and book number 3 I enjoyed more, but I think both of them are just like I'd recommend, but I haven't really thought about them since. So the next book that we've got is Finding Perfect by Colin Hoover. I do not remember reading this. I cannot tell you what this is about. However, it was good. I think at the time I did enjoy it. There's one of them that made me cry, and that was not fun. Then again, Missing, another book that I read at the start of the year. I don't think it was that good from what I remember, but I genuinely don't remember. I couldn't tell you the story, anything. Then we've got Same Time Next Year. Think I'm gonna have to put that in Do Not Remember You. Again, lots of these I read at the start of the year, so a lot of these ones where you're like, oh, it's just all going Do Not Remember, it's because I read them at the start of the year, and at the start of 2024 I wasn't a massive reader. I enjoyed reading and that process, but I wasn't like a massive reader. I wasn't reading all the time, so I didn't really pick up my reading until April time, I would say. The next book was Holes. I would say I'd recommend, but I haven't thought twice. Definitely, if you're a teacher, this is a book worth reading, because I think this is a book that could be really, really good within a classroom. However, yeah, it's just I've not really thought twice about it, but I would, like I say, I would definitely recommend. The next book is How to Stop Overthinking. Should have DNF'd. It was shocking. I just did not enjoy it at all. I thought it was just everything they were saying was so obvious, and it hurt my little brain. So yeah, just not a fan. Okay, so I'm sorry if the screen recording looks slightly different now. I wasn't getting all of the screen in, and it was driving me insane, so I've changed it. So then we got When We Were Friends. I'm gonna say We Were Rooting for You. I think the premise of it sounded really, really good from what I remember, but it wasn't great. The Lightness should have DNF'd. I think if you go into my Goodreads, I actually wrote a review about this story, or about this book, and yeah, it wasn't great. I didn't enjoy it and wouldn't recommend. It's one of those books that it just wasn't for me. Then we got Flawless, Ate This Up But Not God Tier, and Heartless, Ate This Up But Not God Tier. I think if you know the Chestnut Spring series, they are widely loved, and for good reason. They are incredible. However, just those two books, I think it's just the spice. I said it in my December wrap up that Powerless, which is the next book on there, is Injected Into My Veins Love, because the spice in it wasn't that high level. I think it was a good level of spice, and I like the way Elsie Silver wrote it. However, the other two books, I did find some of the spice like quite toe curling and cringy. But yeah, Powerless, Injected Into My Veins, absolute love. Jasper, please, please, please come to my house and kidnap me, because I love you. The next book was Things We Left Behind. I think I'd recommend, but I haven't thought twice. Again, another book. I know that I can tell you what happened in it, and I did really enjoy it. However, it was another one which I haven't really thought about since the start of the year. It was good, and I enjoyed it at the time, but not anything great. Tattered Stars. I think, again, I'd recommend, but I haven't thought twice. This is another book in a series, book number 1 in a series, and it maybe could go in Do Not Remember Reading This. I remember reading it and enjoying it, but I don't remember like the plot line. And yeah, I thought it was a good book. I'm really excited to carry on with the series. It's a romance series with a mystery element. A lot of people it's like the unknown version of Indigo Ridge or Indigo Ranch. I'm not sure which one it is. And yeah, I did really enjoy it. Now I've got the Housemaids books. Controversial opinion, the third book was my favourite. I'd say The Housemaid book 1 and 2 I would recommend, but haven't really thought twice about them. But Housemaid, see, again, The Housemaid is Watching, I'd recommend, but haven't really thought twice. The Housemaid is Watching, the third book, was my favourite out of all of them. However, and I ate them up because Freedom McFadden's books are fast paced and they are good to read for that. But I've not really thought about them since, and although they are good, it's not ones that I would reread or want to go back to. Then we've got After I Ate This Up But It's Not God Tier. And then unfortunately, I think due to the length, the After We Collided and After We Fell, I would recommend, but I haven't really thought twice. I say that, I think it's more just the fact that they were so long. Like the stories, no, actually, I'm going to put them in Ate This Up But Not God Tier, because the stories, the books, the premise, I love. And I love Harden. I just love him. However, they're not necessarily ones that I would reread because they're so big. They're just massive and no one wants to be reading that, but I did really enjoy them. Then we've got The Moon is a Lesbian. What have I done? Oh, I pinned the images back soon. I'm going to put Inject Into My Veins Love. Now, I just love this book. And I feel like when I was watching Sarah Caroli's video, the thing that she had one of her sad books. I think it's A Sad Little Life, or one of the, it was a really sad book. She was like, I don't really want to inject it into my veins, but I did really enjoy it. And so I think that's why I put the love on the end, because yes, I don't necessarily want to inject The Moon is a Lesbian into my veins. It's not, because it's a collection of poems, it's not necessarily one that I want to go and live in, or like want to be within the story or need it within me, but I do love it and I do love her work. Obviously, again, very biased because she is my best friend, but I think she's a very talented human, and please just go and check it out. It's on Kindle Unlimited, and yeah, incredible work. Prelude of Fire, I would say I'd recommend, but I haven't thought twice. I did really enjoy it. This one was 5 stars, but it's purely for the fact that it's fantasy and I'm not a fantasy girly, so that's probably why it's no higher for me. It's an incredible book. I would recommend to everyone to go and pick it up, but yeah, like I say, it's just not for me personally. All the Bright Places, Ate This Up But Not God Tier. That is the saddest book I've read in like a long time. I don't think I've ever cried that much, and that's saying something because I cry a lot. A Court of Wings and Ruin, I recommend, but haven't thought twice. Again, sorry to disappoint people, I'm just not really a fantasy reader. I struggled my way through ACOTAR books because I got told how good they are, and looking back on it, I now want to reread the books because I can see objectively that they are good, but I struggled my way through that book until now. Ate This Up But Not God Tier and Strictly Business, Ate This Up But Not God Tier. I think the issue I've got with those books is I just don't necessarily go back and think about them all that often. I love the stories. I would highly recommend them. I read through them so fast. I'm so looking forward to book number 3 coming out this February, but not necessarily do I want to inject them into my veins. The Power of Discipline should have DNF'd. It was the same sort of thing over and over again, and just boring. To be honest, it was lots of things that I've already got from books like Atomic Habits and stuff. The Whole Brain Child, I'd recommend but haven't thought twice. If you're a teacher, or if you're a teacher in any domain, it's definitely worth a read. I specifically work with special educational needs children, and so this helps thinking a lot about the kind of their behaviours and why they might be behaving that way. And so I really enjoyed that element, but it's not necessarily one that I think about all the time unless it relates to my job. The Inheritance Games series. Now, the original trilogy, I'd recommend but haven't thought twice, is where I'd put the first 3. However, The Brothers Hawthorne, I ate that one up. Again, unpopular opinion, because loads of people that I've seen review it loved the first 3, weren't a massive fan of The Brothers Hawthorne. The Brothers Hawthorne, for me, I absolutely loved. It was just incredible. I think if I can recommend anything to you, it's reading the trilogy to get to that book. Now, again, unpopular opinion, but did really enjoy it. Then we've got the Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy. They are all 3 of them there. I'm going to put We Were Rooting For You. They were good books. but I've seen the TV series and I think that let them down. I also think they're very YA. I listened to books 2 and 3, so that It's Not Summer Without You and We'll Always Have Summer as audiobooks, and I definitely would recommend that more than I would reading them, because I found the writing really YA and just didn't particularly like the writing style. However, listening to them I found a lot more digestible. Court of Frost and Starlight, again, I recommend but not thought twice, kind of what I was saying earlier. I'm just not a massive fantasy girl. They are good, but yeah, I'm just not sure how I feel about them. I'm sorry that I'm speeding through these. Obviously, I've read quite a few books this year. I don't want to be here forever, so I'm going to speed through them, and feel free to leave any comments down below if you want some more in-depth. I also leave quite in-depth reviews on my Goodreads, so it's worth checking that out if you want a few more in-depth reviews. I know from kind of, when did I start my YouTube channel? October onwards, they're all included in wrap-ups, so I know a lot of these books you might not have my full in-depth thoughts, but I'm giving, and like, I don't want this video to drag up for ages and ages. Then we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I'm going to put that in We Were Rooting For You. Now, I enjoyed it. However, I feel like the hype let it down, because I went into this with such high expectations and they got let down. However, Good Girl Bad Blood, I'd recommend, but I haven't thought twice, because I think it's the fact that they're YA that I struggle with. However, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder is following a murder case that's already happened like years ago, whereas A Good Girl Bad Blood is following a missing persons case that's active and happening now, and I felt that gave it slightly more kind of tense action, and you needed to work out what was going on. So yeah, really enjoyed that and would definitely recommend the series, and I'm looking forward to getting to book number 3. Killjoy, this is really hard, because I think I'd recommend but haven't thought twice, because it's not one that I necessarily think is needed in the book, but I did really enjoy it because I do like the characters. Never Never by Colleen Hoover. I'm going to put in Should Have DNF'd. It is so repetitive and I just didn't enjoy it. I don't know what else to say about that book. It's just not, it's not great. Once More with Feeling. I'm going to put this in, ate this up but not God Tier, because it's about a music. I remember reading this. However, if you'd have asked me if I read this book, I would be able to tell you yes, and it's not until doing this video that I remember it. It's all about musical theatre. And I love musical theatre. I'm a musical theatre kid at heart. I did musical theatre kind of my whole life, and so I just ate this up. Is it the best book that I've ever read? No. Did I eat it up? Yes, and that is what matters. Dark Did I? Should have DNF'd. I think this is one of the books that I've got quite a fun review on Goodreads. I didn't enjoy it at all. I don't have a good thing to say about it. Taken While She Slept. I don't really remember reading it. I remember when I read it. I think I'm going to put it in We Were Rooting For You, because I do remember some parts of it, and I do think there was elements of great things, but it wasn't great. It wasn't the best thriller that I've read, but it was quite like it was thrilling enough that it kept me intrigued, so it was kind of like a fast-paced read, but it wasn't like the best thriller that I've read. Powerless. I'm going to see if I can make this smaller. That's better. I'm hoping on the recording you can still see that. Powerless, Inject Into My Veins. Reckless, Inject Into My Veins. Powerful, ate this up but not God Tier, because it was a novella, and I knew how the novella was going to end, and it's sad, and I don't really like reading sad books, so that's kind of my views on Powerless and Reckless. Kai, I love him, and Payden, I love her, and I need Fearless right now. I don't think I can wait till April. I need it right now, because I just need to know what happens right now. So If anyone knows how I can get Fearless right now, that would be great, because I just need to know. But incredible books. I've got one to shock you now. A Court of Silver Flames. Ate this up, but not God tier. Cassian, he has my heart. Like, out of all of them, Cassian is my favourite, I think. But I am waiting for Asriel's book, because he's got this like mysterious guy vibe going on, and something about that intrigues me. But yeah, Cassian, lovely. I just love their book. I love like Nessa's story and seeing how Sarah J Maas develops her character, because I know she's not very liked in the first few books, and yeah, I loved it. The Summer I Saved You and The Summer We Fell, I would recommend but haven't thought twice. These were summer reads for me. They're really fast-paced romance reads, available on Kindle Unlimited, and they were exactly what they said on the tin. They were just quick, easy romance reads. They gave me like a summer feeling and a summer vibe, yeah. And I've recommended it actually to my best friend today to pick one up, but I don't necessarily think that they're like the most amazing piece of fiction. It's just, it was all vibes. I just loved it. The Fake Mate. Now, I think I'm going to put this in Ate This Up, but not God tier. At the time, it probably was God tier, and I wanted to inject it into my veins. Looking back on it, not so much. But it was a really, really good book, and a really good story, and a good premise and plotline. So what can I say? I loved it. And the whole like wolf vibe, just I don't know why, that whole vibe then, yes. You and Me on Vacation. Before the Emily Henry stands come at me, I'm so sorry. This is the only Emily Henry book that I've ever read, and my bookish friend in real life, she is an Emily Henry stan, and she said she struggled with this book, and I said, oh, I'm glad it's not me. I've got Happy Place on my TBR currently in my physical TBR, and I want to get it to it ASAP. And so I don't think it's her writing, I just think maybe it was that story. But yeah, I was rooting for it. I've heard lots of hype about Emily Henry, and that just wasn't it. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, Happy Place can redeem it. Gone Girl, another one. We were rooting for you, but I think I've seen the film, so I know how it ends, and I know the twists and the turns, and I think if I'd have read it the other way round, amazing, and if I'd read it without remembering what happens in the film, probably would have been really good, but I didn't, and yeah, it just wasn't great, because I knew what was happening. The Bright Spot, I'd recommend, but I haven't thought twice. I read this one on holiday, and read it really, really quickly actually, and I'm looking forward to reading her writing a bit more and getting to the rest of the series. It's quite a cutesy romance. Don't really remember the storyline as much, but do remember really, really enjoying the female main character and male main character romance and interactions. We've got the Heartstopper series. Well, they're going in inject into my veins, because I absolutely love, I can't do it all in one, I absolutely love this series. They are incredible. I don't have any words for that series. If you've watched my October wrap up, they are included in there, and I go into it in a lot more detail, and yeah, it's all in my October one. I just love them. I love them so much, and I picked up some of Alice Osman's books recently, and so I'm excited to see her actual writing as well and see what she does there. But yeah, I would recommend the Heartstopper series to everyone. I still need to watch the actual TV series, and that's going to be kind of my show, I think, when I go back to uni. Then Hopeless, I do not remember reading this. I think if I put Finding Cinderella as well, I do remember reading that one actually, but not really. All Your Perfects, I should have DNF'd, because that one's the sad one. Losing Hope as well, should have, do not remember. I think that's all of the one from that series. Yeah, All of Your Perfects is the sad one, and it touches quite a lot on fertility and fertility problems, and that's something that I personally have had a few struggles with in my personal life, and very much at that time was struggling with it quite a lot, and I was reading about it, and it just, I should have DNF'd it because it wasn't for me at the time. Then we've got Out on a Limb. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I don't think it's a bad book, and I really like the disability rep and I like the caringness of him, but I struggled with the writing, I struggled with the story, and I struggled with the fact that it was so hyped up and I didn't enjoy it. And I think I put pressure on myself to enjoy it more because it was so hyped up, and then when I wasn't enjoying it, there was more pressure building. And I read it at a time in my life where I was between going on holiday and moving, and it was a lot. And so I'm going to put it in We Were Rooting For You. That's all I want to say. The Silent Patient, that twist at the end, oh my goodness. I ate this up. It's not quite injected into my veins because I don't really want to be in like a mental asylum, but yeah, I loved it so much. Maybe if I pin the images, that might make it easier now. Then we've got 101 Essays to Change the Way You Think. If it's what you want to read, I'd recommend it. It was good. I've not got much to say about that. It was good at the time. I did really enjoy it. I thought there were some interesting things to come from it. I listened to it on audiobook, so I didn't fully take it in. And I probably will go back and reread maybe some elements of it, but I do think it was really good. Dear Dolly, again, I find non-fiction is really hard to put in here, but that was, I would really recommend that book if you're in your 20s and just you want something kind of not memoiry, but like agony aunt style to read. I did really enjoy it, and I kind of ate it up quite quickly, so it was good. Rainbow Out, a Landline, I'm going to put it on We Were Rooting For You. It was a good story. I really did enjoy it, yet the storyline, the premise of it sounded a lot better than the execution. A Time for Mercy should have DNF'd. I went into this in one of my wrap-up videos. I think it was November wrap-up. Yeah, it wasn't great. I didn't enjoy it. I'm sorry if you're a John Grisham stan. I've got a few more of his books to try, and I'm going to try it. I've got Theodore Boone on my January TBR, and so I think in the TBR video I even said like I'm going to give this book a try, and then if I don't like it I might have to like unhaul the other books I've got, because that just wasn't it. But even reading the reviews, I saw a lot of people said like a lot of people like his writing and didn't like that book. So then we've got Dolly Alderton, Good Material. I ate this one up, but it's not quite God tier, but I do keep thinking about it. I do really enjoy it. I liked the premise of it being from a male point of view and seeing like a breakup from a different side, and I really enjoyed her writing, and I do want to read a few more of her books if she's got any others out. I'm not sure. I know she's got maybe one more non-fiction book, but I'm not sure about fiction. Next book is P.S. I Love You and Postscript. I'm going to put them in Ate This Up but Not God tier. I loved both of those books, yet I don't want to inject them into my veins, and I can't say I loved them because there was some sad elements, but they were really good and I did eat them up. 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I'm going to put this one in. I'd recommend, but I haven't thought twice. I did really enjoy the book and I really enjoyed the story. However, I haven't been thinking about it that much since, and I don't know whether it's just because I've read some great books since then. However, yeah, I'm looking forward to reading some more of her Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing and get into that kind of like literary fiction style, so I'm hoping that will help. Then I read The Family Upstairs. Again, I would recommend it as a thriller or a mystery. However, it wasn't quite thriller enough for me, but The Woman in Cabin 10, inject it into my veins. Love, 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 love. Need to find the film, because it's a film and I can't find it anywhere. So I need to find the film. So if anyone can tell me where I can find the film, that'd be great. It was the most thrilling book ever, which when I live on my own wasn't ideal, but just loved it. Grown Ups should have DNF'd. I really struggled to understand this story. I struggled to understand what's going on. I struggled to understand the narrator because I listened to it on audiobook. Should have just DNF'd it. Should have just given up when it was there. Then we got I Heart New York and I Heart Hollywood. I'd recommend. See, it's hard because I have thought about these twice, but it's purely because it's in a series, so I keep thinking about like the next book in the series. Yet, have I thought about the story twice? No. But I would recommend them. I do think they're really fun, easy, maybe coming of age books as such. Like she's finding herself in New York and then she goes to Hollywood, and it's really nice seeing the places and seeing her life. However, it's not necessarily books that, if you're looking for books like that, then yes, read them. However, I didn't eat them up as such. I did read them quite quickly, but they weren't, yeah, I'd recommend. Sectioned, I'd recommend. However, yeah, I've not really thought about it since. I do think it was a good, not story, I do think it was a good book, and it had its time and its place. Yeah. Serenade of Kings, I'd recommend, but I haven't thought twice. I've read that one more recently, so I have thought about it a little bit more, but it's not one that, again, it's fantasy. I feel like a lot of my fantasies will fall under that line, and just, that's unfortunate, really. The Cheat Sheet ate this up, but it's not quite God tier. I did love it though. I did love it. I don't quite want to inject it into my veins. The Rearranged Life of Una Lockhart, we were rooting for you. Again, I think the premise sounded amazing and I really wanted to read it, but the actual physical writing in the book let me down, and that's where I struggled. Then we have The Love Hypothesis. Injected into my veins, love, 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 love. I read this book in 19 hours or something like that. It was like 18 or 19 hours. Just incredible, couldn't put it down. Was really sad when Dad said I had to go shopping with him and do some bits and pieces, which I'd said I'll do with him anyway. 2 More Days, I think I'm going to put in We Were Rooting for You. I think it had the opportunity to be a lot better. However, I do also think maybe me rushing through it was partly to blame as well. And then The Devil Wears Prada, again, I'm going to put in We Were Rooting for You, because I think having seen the film just let it down a little bit for me. But yeah, this is my tier list. So as you can see, my inject into my veins books are the ones that I loved. I gave all of these, oh, I didn't give Powerless 5 stars actually. I gave that one 4 stars, but I gave the rest of them all 5 stars. Absolutely incredible books. And yeah, there's not many that I should have DNF'd. I don't really like DNFing books, and like I say, a lot of them is for very valid reasons and just not enjoying them. But thank you so much for joining me for tier ranking my 2024 books. Like I said in the video, if you want to see any more in-depth reviews of them, I review all my books on Goodreads. If you go on there now, I'm hoping to, by the time this video gets uploaded, have finished my written reviews. However, at the time of filming this, I'm quite far behind. But I do try and go on and bulk review a lot of them as and when I can. I should really review them as I finish them, but a lot of the time I'm very much just want to get started on the next one. So yeah, any more in-depth views that you want to see, go to my Goodreads. But if not, leave a comment down below. I'm always happy to talk books with anyone, or go to my Instagram and send me a lovely message. It'd be great to hear from some of you guys. Let me know any videos you want to see in 2025. I look forward to the reading year this year and just seeing what books I get to and what books I'm loving and what books not so much. And we'll see, will I DNF a book this year for real? I don't know, but yeah, I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. I hope you guys have enjoyed this extra little bonus upload that I've created for you, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.